Family is Providence, but here to tell the truth. In my mind, I don't think that there was a person who came out worse than Rick Ross in that whole Drake versus Kendrick beef. If you need a reminder, Drake and Kendrick started to go at it, and then Rick Ross came out of nowhere, dropped the diss track, thought that he might have had the opportunity to get Drake up out of here, and they really thought that they were all going to do a number out on Drake and that he was never going to bounce back. Well, fast forward 2+ years later, we know Drake is still the guy, has broken all the records. Iceman is the hottest rap album of 2026. Is still doing way more numbers than everybody else. And Rick Ross dropped an album, Set in Stone, and it happened to go triple stone, selling less than 20K in its first week. Now, mind you, Drake is in his 8th or 9th week of Iceman being released. Iceman outsold it. Tory Lanez dropped an album from prison. My man Tory Lanez is working hard, recording songs off of a jail phone, and he has the greatest engineer on the face of the planet turning it into songs. And Tory Lanez sold more than him from prison, sold more than Rick Ross. And so it's just shame upon shame, embarrassment upon embarrassment. And I know many Drake fans will have zero sympathy. And in many respects, myself as a Drake fan, I don't have much sympathy. But there is a part of me that's looking at Drake Ross like, dang, bro, it didn't have to be this way. Because I do like Rick Ross's music, and I've been a fan, and I was a fan. And I still consider myself really, like, if you just look at the music, I'm a fan of the music. Am I a fan of the moves he eventually made and how he turned on the boy? Absolutely not. But I'm looking at this like, man, I'm really watching the downfall of Rick Ross because he switched up on the boy and chose the wrong side. Most people observing the beef back in 2024 were scratching heads when Rick Ross jumped in. Rick Ross said he jumped in because Drake sent French Montana a cease and desist, but later it would be clear that French was still cool with Drake. We never saw French address it or make that big of a deal behind it. And so we were forced to conclude that really Rick Ross probably just had some resentment building up for Drake, maybe jealous of Drake, like a lot of other people who attacked Drake were. And he used that situation as an excuse. But it was funny to see him come out and defend French, because I remember when Meek Mill, his own artist at the time, was going at it with Drake in that beef. Ross ain't had no energy to defend Meek Mill. So it was just a strange coming out of the woodworks to attack Drake. And it was clear that a lot of people who participated in that whole movement really thought that Kendrick and the other artists attacking him, the industry, the label support, the false allegations, a lot of them thought that that would destroy Drake, that Drake was not going to survive it. And people took a calculated risk. I think Ross took a calculated risk. This is my time to add to the pylon in hopes that we could get Drake up out of here. But it failed. It failed miserably. And I believe that Ross, deep down inside, regrets it, because we saw him very recently come out and say, hey, Drake, man, look, the real ones could never be against you. I want to see you win.
Drake, if you listening to this, homie, listen to me. My nigga, shine. I don't want to see you lose. No real nigga want to see you lose. That ain't what niggas about. This culture, this game, this rap shit, this ain't what it's about. I don't want to see you lose. Real niggas just want to see real niggas shine together. Real niggas come up together. You understand?
I personally think that Apple interview was an attempt to extend the olive branch with Drake. I think Ross recognized that this whole 20v1 thing didn't really work out. Drake is still the guy. And he probably heard rumblings of the fact that Drake and Future had supposedly made up and Future was going to be on the album. And maybe Ross was thinking, man, maybe I could get another Drake feature as well. But OVO, Drake, they all laughed it off, thought that Ross was out there copping pleas. And Ross then turned and decided to double down and get back to dissing Drake. But it is sad because you know that this whole beef was over nothing. It was over maybe some temporary jealousy or whatever the case may be, or maybe there's some girl somewhere, because there's always a girl somewhere, right? And you're watching Rick Ross, who could have had Drake on his album, maybe probably could have been on Drake's album, could have continued to eat off of that Drake stimulus package that he was eating off of for a long time in his career. And you're watching this guy flounder, and it's like, what did you gain from this? Ross, what did you gain from turning on Drake? Nothing. You out of everybody that turned on Drake should have said, man, this probably ain't gonna be good. Let's be honest. This probably ain't gonna help my career, because guess what? A lot of the people that were your fans, that were listening to your music, were also Drake fans. And now you turned against Drake and forced people to have to pick and choose between you and Drake. And guess what? Nobody's choosing you over Drake. See, Kendrick is a distinct enough artist with his own fans that he could survive going against Drake. He's been going against Drake for a long time and built up his own fan base. So he don't need to collaborate with Drake. He still eats off of Drake every time he disses Drake, but the way he eats off of Drake is by dissing, not by collaborating. You can't eat off of Drake by dissing. You needed to be a collaborator. And so now we watching Ross flounder, 50 Cent's making fun of him, the whole internet's making fun of him. We're all basically looking at his career and thinking it was washed, all because in all likelihood he had a moment of jealousy and he couldn't keep those emotions to himself. He thought that it was his opportunity to show his true colors because Drake would be up out of here. Come to find out, Drake survived. And now Ross ain't got nothing to show for it. So I honestly think that this should just be a lesson for everybody observing this, man. Don't bite the hand that feeds you, because you might still need that hand to still feed you, okay? Ross went ahead and bit the hand that was feeding him, and come to find out he still needed to get fed. Okay, if you're gonna bite the hand that feeds you, make sure you don't need to be fed no more by that same hand. Ross ain't do that. So now he got to deal with this embarrassment of where his career is at. I mean, we seen him on Coach flying after he was, we heard something about his plane crashed or busted a wheel or something like that. It ain't been too good since he turned against Drake and tried to make it look like Drake is washed, when all the evidence is to the contrary, and we looking at the fact that Ross is washed. But anyway, guys, that's been my thoughts. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. It's been Providence. If you guys like the video, please like the video, subscribe, help me to grow my channel. I appreciate the support. I'll see you guys in the next video.